everyone.
It doesn't feel like a heavy bike. I don't know. City ke liye perfect bike, can do nice maneuvering with this. Yeah, of course the torque is missing. The only issue till now I found is the brakes. Stupid brakes. Whoa! Suspension brakes are amazing.
What's up guys, kaise ho? I hope everyone is doing great. It's been really long since I've seen you guys. It was my last video, I think 4 or 5 days back. You can see I'm a little bit tired because I'm working out. This time I'm like really motivated, and I think I'm back to my days where I used to have a six-pack and I used to be so dedicated, following proper nutrition plan, diet plan and all that. I think I'm back there. Once again, not trying to get a six-pack and all that, but you know, the thing about working out is once you see a little bit of shades of six-pack, you really want to get there. Anyways, one problem was working out from home is you miss your gym so much because that is a dedicated place where you can work out properly, but at home there's a lot of disturbance and all that. The proper atmosphere is not there. Apart from that, equipment is one big problem. You have to use your body weights and the floor to work out, but somehow the other day this happened. Awesome. I'm really happy right now because firstly gyms are closed. I'm really trying very hard to work out. Unfortunately, I did not buy any equipment because I used to go to the gym, but now I needed some workout. I'm bored of running in the lawn all the time and playing badminton. I don't know when are they going to open the gyms, but for now I need some weights. Unfortunately, I cannot buy them now because of the lockdown. Luckily, I just came up and I was just scouting the storeroom. Look what I found. My very old weights. I have a rod, a couple of weights, I think 5 kilos plus another 20 kilos I found outside, but they're all rusty. Maybe I'll try to paint them a little bit, at least I'll get the work done. I remember working out with this equipment literally like I think 7 or 8 years back. Memory is coming down the lane now. Thanks to the lockdown. See that? Couple of dumbbells and 2 plates here. As you can see, here are those Zamana 50-year-old dumbbells and all that, and I'm also using a top box and a bag. This bag has a lot of weight inside. I put a plate like this one inside that, so I think I'm gonna crush it. I'll do this workout and I'll get back to you. Alright, by the way, in case you guys are not doing any workouts, I urge you to do some kind of workout. It is important to keep yourself motivated, your brain working properly, and to stay positive. It is very important. Alright, so see you after this workout. That's called the declined. I forgot. Declined push-ups. Now the same thing with weights. I'll be wearing this heavy bag. Let me show you what I put inside. There is this heavy plate, I think 10 kilos. This is technically called jugaad. That's tough. Chalo, done with the workout. 584 total calories, 476 active calories, 58 minutes, almost 1 hour of a workout. Okay, firstly, excuse me with this shabby hairstyle. I really need a proper haircut. Anyways, forget it. Since the last 2-3 years, I'm getting this question about which bike is the best in this particular segment. Sriman bro, please suggest us a bike in this category. I've never answered that. The reason for that is if I've ridden a bike like properly, then I think I can suggest it. I'll be the right person to suggest. But if I've ridden just like a test ride and all that, maybe from that I can give you some inputs, but I cannot 100% recommend a bike for you. It all depends on your personal taste, your personal liking. That is the reason you have to first go test ride a bike on your own. Only then you might like it. See, for example, the Tiger fits me perfect. I feel my hands are a little bit longer than usual, and usually most adventure tourers have huge handlebars, like wide ones, and when I sit on the bike, for me it's perfect. In case you're a short guy, and if I suggest you to definitely go for the adventure tourer for a Tiger or something like that, you might go and end up not liking it, only because I said you might buy it but later you might regret it. That is the reason I always urge you guys to go take a test ride. If possible, take a test ride, a longer test ride, because you're spending so much of money, lakhs of money. It's better you take a bike for rent, at least 100 kilometers plus, and then you can come to a conclusion if it suits your needs, if it suits your city needs or long touring needs. However, one question I think it makes a little bit sense for me to answer, because the 300 segment category, you wanted to know a bike in the 300 to 400 segment category, and I think I'm a little bit qualified to talk about that segment. Reason for that is I've ridden a couple of 300 to 400 cc segment bikes. I've made a chart which has parameters like say touring, street, reliability, torque, braking, all this I've put in the chart and I've given it ratings. For example, I've taken a particular bike, and if the bike has amazing torque, I would rate it at 10, somewhere like our typical rating style, 7.5 if the bike's torque is really good. If the braking is very bad, the scale will be somewhere around 3 or 4. I don't know how much of sense does these charts make, but I've tried my best according to my personal experience, alright? So these parameters are something that I look for in a bike. If these things check for me, at least for me, then I think it's a good bike. So I'll be putting all the links of the bikes that I've ridden in the description. Someone has come. Amazon delivery. I've got some of my important stuff. Yes. Let me get it. Thumbs up to Amazon. They're working in this kind of conditions. Essentials, by the way. I've ordered some essentials for myself. Let me go and get it and I'll see you. Okay, sorry for that small interruption. So what was I saying? So basically you can find all the links in the description where I've ridden all these 300, 400cc segment bikes. My first ride feels about all these bikes. So as far as I remember, I think I've ridden 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 300 to 400cc segment bikes. By now I've said 10 times this word of 300 to 400cc segment bikes. Does my charisma fall under that 220cc? Not 300cc. And as I told you, I'll be giving my inputs. Remember, totally my personal view about this bike, how I personally felt about the bike. Chalo, let's start off with the video. I have some, let me show you the charts. This is the Benelli TNT 300 chart. Vertically you can see the ratings, and niche, which is the x-axis, you can see the parameters. Alright, Benelli TNT 300 for street I rated 4 out of 10, which means it's good average for a street. You might have a little bit of fun, but not like crazy fun on that. Touring, not up to the mark, so I'm giving it 3 out of 10. The build quality is definitely good on all Benellis. Somehow I find they are like really sturdy. I feel they're all put together well. So build quality I give it 6 out of 10. Maneuverability of the bike is not up to the mark, so I give it 3 out of 10. Coming to braking, it's once again not that great, so again 3 out of 10. Torque is something that all Benellis lack. I don't know why they don't improve that. Even the 600, they have good torque in the high rev ranges, but in the low rev range, that is where the most usable torque you should have, because obviously you'll not be revving your bike so much in the cities. When it's a city bike, it's better to have more torque in the beginning of the rev range, somewhere between 1500 to 3000 rpm. That is the proper rev range you will be using. Anything after that for a city bike, my personal view, I don't think any torque after that makes any sense. Coming to reliability, Benelli's reliability, engine reliability is definitely good, so I'm giving it 5 out of 10. Why did I give it a little bit low is because, see, the engine wise it is really good, no doubts. Reliability problem is with the service centers. So if you have to rely on a particular product, the backing, the support that the company gives, that should also be up to the mark. I'm not saying they're bad, they're really good. At least the Hyderabad dealership, when I've owned the Benelli, they were really good, no doubts about that. But I've heard mixed reviews from other owners. So coming to maintenance, this parameter talks about how much do you need to spend to maintain this particular bike. It is on the higher side. For a Benelli TNT 300, I don't know the exact figures, but one thing I know is it is expensive. You can maintain a Triumph Tiger with the cost of maintaining a TNT 300. Trust me on that. So I'm giving it 2 out of 10. And overall price for this bike, at a price of 3.5 lakhs for this particular bike, I think it is a little bit on the higher side. Next comes the Imperiale 400. You know, if you want something different and you're bored with looking at thousands of Royal Enfield classics outside, then maybe you can consider this. But then if you give me the money, I think I'll go for the Royal Enfield, because that design is definitely timeless. Coming to the Imperiale 400 chart, and you can see that for street purpose I will give it 4 out of 10. And for touring, it is good because it's nice and relaxed. So I'll be giving it 4.5 out of 10. For the build quality, once again, it's Benelli, so build quality is nice and compact and sturdy, so I'll be giving it 6 out of 10. Maneuverability, I'll be giving it not up to the mark because that's how a classic bike is. Usually it doesn't maneuver so much. It is good but not great, so I'll be giving it 2.5 out of 10. Braking, 3 out of 10. Actually, talking about braking on Benelli's, even the 600i's braking was very bad. Somehow the brakes are really spongy. You don't have that crisp feeling when you hit the brakes. Next parameter is the torque. Torque, I'll be giving it 3 out of 10 once again. At around 30 Nm of torque, I think it's not that great. And the peak torque comes at 4500 RPM, which is a little bit better than the 300. So I'm going to give it a below average 3 out of 10. Already spoken about the reliability, so this parameter will get the same as the previous Benelli TNT 300. That is 5 out of 10. Maintenance, once again, it's a Benelli. Maintenance on these bikes is a little bit on the higher side. So once again, like its cousin, I'll give it 1 out of 10. I think pricing is pretty decent on the bike for 2.2 lakhs or something. Pricing is 2.2 lakhs on road in Hyderabad. So I think pricing is fine, not that expensive for a 373cc bike. So I'll be giving it, I think I have to increase this rating. But unfortunately, we have the Royal Enfield competition here for the same segment, and I think that is much cheaper. If there was no competition, I might have given this a better rating, but there's a good competition and that is a successful bike. It's reliable, it's been used in wars and all that. So Royal Enfield Classic here, competition takes away. Now is actually the most interesting part. Let's review my favorite KTM Duke 390. In this particular segment, I'll not even look at any charts. My favorite bike in the segment is definitely the KTM Duke 390. You get a lot of value for your money. If you put reliability, build quality, all these things aside, I think the thrill you get while riding this bike, nothing can match it. Okay, anyways, let's go to the chart and there's my rating. This is a perfect street bike, so I'll be giving it 8.5 out of 10. You'll definitely have a lot of fun on this bike in the streets. This bike is so crazy and peppy that you know how many accidents keep happening on these bikes, right? Coming to touring, this bike is not that great when it comes to touring. You can tour, but KTM's designers never made this bike for touring. It is a proper street bike. So I'll give it 3 out of 10 for touring, especially with that hard seat, which you can solve with a simple cushion or something. But then if you ask me, if you can tour on this bike, you can, but it's not at that comfortable level. Next parameter, build quality, I'll be giving it 3.5 out of 10 because somehow KTM's, even the 790 which we have seen recently, I somehow did not find that great build quality. It doesn't feel that premium for the money you're putting in. What, 790 is almost 10 lakhs plus, but when you look at it, it looks like a 390, a little bit better finish, but definitely not worth putting. I mean, you can pay for the engine, for the power, for the kick you get, but definitely not for the looks. Looks are also striking, no doubt. I'm talking about the premium feel. This is all my personal preference here. Everyone will have preferences on this planet, so that is my preference. I'm not saying it should be at that price point, just my feeling. Maneuverability is excellent on the bike, so I'll be giving it a crazy 8 out of 10. You can have so much of fun with this bike. Twist it, turn it, it will just take everything you give it. Very responsive engine, very responsive bike. Filtering is like bliss. Braking is excellent on the bike. One of the best stopping power I've seen is in a KTM 390. So I'll be giving it 7 out of 10. Although I feel the rear brake is a little bit sluggish. Reliability, KTM's reliability, a lot of complaints from all over the country. I keep getting a lot of messages from you guys as well that KTM is treating them like this, like that. So once again, if you're just talking about the bike, it is reliable. You can take it like for long rides without any issues. But if there is some issue in the bike, when you take it to the service center, you will have to do a lot of trips to the service center because it will not be resolved just like that. All these things are not my experiences, but the inputs that I've taken the last 2-3 years from all the people. Coming to the maintenance parameter, it is pretty damn cheap to maintain a KTM. Except there are a few parts which are quite expensive, but usually you don't get any problem in those parts, like chain sprocket and all this. Maybe 15-20,000 kilometers ke baad you need to change it. Otherwise, the general parts that you need to change, they're pretty cheap. Like for example, if your rear view mirror is broken, 250 rupees for a rear view mirror, that's like... So I'm giving the torque, I think this has got the best torque in all the 300 to 400cc segment bikes, at least in the ones that I have ridden. So I'll be giving it a crazy 8.5 out of 10. Pricing for this kind of bike, 6 out of 10. Next bike, let's talk about the great Bajaj Dominar 400. This has definitely created a mark when it comes to biking, especially in that particular segment. One of the most liked bikes in the country, made in India, Bajaj. Coming to the street purpose, is definitely good, so I'm giving it 7 out of 10. Not as crazy as a KTM, but a little bit on the subtler side, so I'll give it 7 out of 10. And touring, it's a bliss. I think this is one bike I can properly comment on because I've ridden it for 100 kilometers when I went to Kochi, and the second time I've ridden it like properly in an international ride that was around I think 200 kilometers, 180 200 kilometers, and I really like the bike. So touring, like I said, it's excellent. 8.5 out of 10. If you're thinking of a budget bike, you can blindly go for the Bajaj Dominar 400. Now coming to the build quality, it is not that great, so I'll be giving it 4 out of 10 as per what I felt about the bike. It doesn't feel that nicely built. It looks good, but little bit flimsy I feel, especially the switches and the instrument cluster area. So I'll be giving it 4 out of 10. But then you have to remove the price point as well. It is a very economical bike. So at that price point, I think it's a pretty damn good bike. Next parameter, maneuverability. Nothing close to the KTM, but definitely better than the previous two bikes that I mentioned. I'll be giving the maneuverability 6 out of 10. Braking is something really bad on this bike. This has definitely need to be improved. I gave it 4 out of 10, but I think I have to give it much lesser, maybe 2.5 out of 10. When I rode the bike in Kochi, I thought maybe that particular bike that I'm riding, that one has an issue. But later when I rode a couple of other Dominars also, I felt the same thing. It doesn't have that kind of crazy stopping power. Torque is really good. If I'm not wrong, I think the Dominar's engine and the KTM's engine are pretty similar. Tuning is a little bit different. The KTM is tuned for a sporty feel, while the Dominar has been tuned for touring. So torque, I'll be giving it 6.5 out of 10. Very good reliability because Bajaj service centers are everywhere. But once again, I've heard a few mixed reviews from you guys, a couple of people when I met you in Kochi. Reliability is not that great, but if something happens to the bike, it's easy on your pocket to get it done. So reliability 6.5 out of 10, and maintenance is pretty cheap for a Bajaj. So I'll be giving it a crazy 8 out of 10. Overall, the price of the bike is excellent. 2,30,000 on road for a 400cc bike. It's pretty good. And if your prime purpose is to tour and if you're confused between the KTM and the Dominar, which people usually are, blindly go for the Bajaj Dominar. Now firstly, before moving on to the next bike, let me tell you that all these bikes are completely different. They have a different character of their own. Actually, you can't compare this bike like properly, but only based on segment, 300, again I'm saying it, 300 to 400cc, these are the bikes that I've ridden, so I'm comparing them only in terms of that segment. That's it. One is a street bike, one is a proper tourer, one is a cruiser. But I think majority of these, except the Royal Enfield Himalayan, which I'm going to talk about next, except that particular bike, all these bikes properly fall in the street segment. Now moving on to the next, RE Himalayan. I think the only adventure touring bike in this segment, right? In that kind of position, like an adventure tourer, long travel suspension and all that, I think it's only the RE Himalayan. I think there's no competition. Anyway, I've given a rating for this as well. One of the main reasons I personally like this bike is because of its long travel suspension, which is really quite handy when it comes to off-roading. Not completely hardcore off-roading, but it has its benefits. Nice ground clearance and all that. So if you're planning to do some moderate to high but not hardcore off-roading, maybe you can plan on this bike. For street riding, it is definitely a little bit fun to ride, but not like properly focused towards street riding. So I will give it 5.5 out of 10. Touring, amazing. It is nice, relaxed. You sit properly upright in a 90-degree angle. Even the foot pegs are like comfortably placed. So you have that good touring position. You can definitely do long rides on this. Our seat is a little bit hard, I felt. It's not hard, but it doesn't properly take the shape of your butt. Once again, maybe my butt is like that. Build quality, Royal Enfield Himalayan, I think classics are better. Himalayan is not that great. At least the bike that I've ridden, I felt it that way. So build quality, I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10. Maneuverability is an adventure tourer. Usually adventure tourers don't have crazy good maneuverability. It's not meant for street riding and filtering and all that. The whole purpose of an adventure bike is something else. The center of gravity of this bike is a little bit different compared to a street bike, so maneuverability is a little bit lesser. I'm giving it 4.5. Braking is not great, so 4. Torque is something that lacks in this bike, so again 4 for that. Reliability wise, I think it is fine. I've never heard like too many complaints, maybe because the customer base for this particular bike is not as much as the Royal Enfield Classics or any other Royal Enfield. So engine problems and all that, actually I gave it 7 in this chart. I think I'll give it a little bit lesser because I remember 2 or 3 people telling me that they had like major engine issues, so I have to consider those. If it was just one bike, then maybe, but it is at least 3 people telling me that engine oil leakage and all that, so I'll give it 6 out of 10. Maintenance is not very cheap and it's not too expensive as well. For an adventure touring at that segment, I think it's pretty good, so I'll be giving it 5 out of 10. Pricing wise, it's a completely different looking bike compared to the rest of the bikes. It definitely has its own character. The way it looks is completely different from the bikes that we have spoken about. Standing at 2.3 lakhs on road, I think it's pretty decent, and majorly because you don't have like proper competition, I think I'll give it 6 out of 10. You definitely do not need to rely on my rating at all. My ratings can definitely be plain stupid. But everyone can have their own opinion, so this is my opinion about these bikes. Next comes the beautiful Honda CB300R. This is a proper street bike. I was actually surprised with the bike. The way it looks, it definitely doesn't look like a 300cc bike. When you look at it, I'll definitely say it's a 200cc bike. But when you ride it, man, it's got some good power. And very good flickability, nice filtering you can do on it, just like a KTM. Not as good as a KTM, but I think you can place it next to the KTM. So street capabilities, 8 out of 10. Touring, once again, hard seat, and this bike is not meant for touring and all. This is not what it was built for. So touring, I'll give it 4 out of 10. Coming to build quality, I'm giving it 7.5 because build quality, you can never go wrong with a Honda. Maneuverability is superb. I really like the maneuverability on this bike. I'll give it 8.5. Braking was not that great. It was a little bit spongy, so 5 out of 10. Torque is pretty good. You'll definitely love it. No, so 7.5 out of 10. Reliability. Should I even talk about Honda's reliability? Maintenance, I heard for the 300 is a little bit on the higher side, so I'll be giving it 7 out of 10. The reason I'm giving 7, although maintenance is a little bit on the higher side for the 300, the reason for that is usually you don't get problems in a Honda, and never ever anyone told me that we have this issue, we have that small issue in this bike. Usually it is maintenance free. Pricing, this is a major thing. When I rode the bike, I was in full love with it, and I said this is a bike you have to go with. But then later when I came to know about the price, I was like, Honda CB300R, 2.76, almost 3 lakhs for this bike. I felt the way the bike looks, it looks like a 200cc bike. I know it's got all the power and all that. Looking at it, no one would believe that this bike is going to cost that much. So keeping that in mind, I think I've given it 2, but that's not fair. I think I'll give it 4 out of 10 for pricing. Last but not the least, we have the infamous BMW 310 GS, the smallest cousin of the GS series, but I don't want to call it a GSR. The GS 1250, that is a legend. I think BMW should have named this only the 310 or G310, something like that, but not GSR. That name has a different level. All that for later. For now, let's rate it. For street, I'm giving it 6.5. It is pretty good, nice maneuverability, so 6.5. Touring, yes. I mean, when I sat on the bike, I could feel that. Yes, I can ride for long distances without any backache and all. Upright, nice position, nice upright feel. Nice placement of foot pegs. You feel very comfortable. So without any issues, you can definitely do proper long rides. Build quality, it's not up to the mark. Like when you see a BMW, you know it's shouting quality, but the 310 lacks that a little bit, especially when you look at the price and the build quality. There is a difference. So I'll be giving it 6 out of 10. Maneuverability, 6.5 out of 10. Surprisingly, braking was good. 7.5 for the braking. Torque was pretty decent. I cannot talk too much about this. Nothing to boast about, so I'll be giving it 5.5 out of 10. Reliability, BMW reliability, brand is there, but I mean, I've never heard any issues about this bike from anywhere. I have to say that there are not many bikes sold, and so maybe because of that, I couldn't come across any complaints. Maintenance, BMW maintenance, don't tell me, yeah, it is pretty expensive. I've heard that the BMW 310 is definitely expensive to maintain. The brand BMW, I guess. Price, I have to give it 0 because is this even a pricing here? 3 lakhs, 96, 4 lakhs. 4 lakhs for a 300cc bike? A big no. 0, actually, I've given it 1. I don't know how did I miss that. I have to give it 0 for the pricing. 4 lakhs just because you have a BMW tag on it? No, I don't think this bike is worth 4 lakhs. Spend another 3-4 lakhs and you can get a maybe Kawasaki versus 650. So that's about my review and first ride impressions about these bikes. All the links will be in the description for these bikes. You can use my code Shriman50 and get flat 50% off on purchase of all these bikes. I'm kidding, okay? Don't take it seriously. I think this video might have given you an idea about which bike to go for. Like I'm repeatedly saying, these are all my views. I can absolutely be wrong. Once again, if you are putting your hard-earned money, I urge you, I tell you this, please go to the showroom, take the test ride of each of these bikes or maybe any other bikes you might want to consider, and only then put your hard-earned money into it. So then I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Make sure you hit the like button because this took a lot of work to, actually rate each and every parameter of each and every bike. I had to recollect how I felt riding the bike, which is a pretty big task for me because I'm a big gajani. I keep forgetting things. I went through all of the review videos that I've posted and then I came up with these ratings. So then I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Hopefully I'll have my hair cut by then, man. I'm so irritated with this shabby hair.